Oh, I hit the wrong button. There's everybody. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Rage. This is a trial experiment. This is the first time I've ever had this many people on StreamYard. A little chaos, but we've got a great panel tonight. It's me and John are kind of going to try to keep some order. We're going to ask some questions. We've got 10 of us total that are atheists, and we're going to be trying to just kind of answer the question, is atheism a worldview? Do we have some standard that we all follow? But John's here. What's up, John?
Hey, what's up there, Bear?
So I've got questions. So we're gonna get right into it because there's a lot of people, and we want people to be able to answer. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer the question. I'll go last or first, whatever I feel like I need to do to break the ice. But when you get to your turn to answer the question, whether you answer this first one or not. John again. There goes John. John's having some issues.
Too much responsibility. You just shoved him on him straight away, Knox. So fuck that, I'm out of here.
Didn't pay his internet bill.
He's not used to being on this late, I think. But yeah. So first question, you get to your turn. Go ahead and show your channel real quick, and we'll just get right into it. So question number one, is atheism your worldview? Title of the stream. And
it's not a worldview.
All right, we'll let you go first, Neil.
It's not a worldview. It's addresses one thing and one thing only. Do you believe in gods? Yes or no? Mm-hmm. That's all it addresses. It's not a worldview. It can influence a worldview, but it's not a worldview.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
In saying that, though, we will be happy enough to sit here and say that all Christians and people like that and fundamentalists, especially in America, with what's going on at the minute, are influenced on their political views and what they vote on because of their Christianity. And not to say that we would say that they have a worldview, but I wouldn't just say it's small. It's maybe a foundation, maybe a brick in the foundation, but your beliefs define everything else after that. So the fact that it is a foundational question does bring some strength to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely probably helped me towards my worldview. I've always said my worldview is secular humanism. But better. Yeah, and to me, it's a good worldview to have. It's better than a Christian worldview, in my opinion. But atheism is, like Neil said,
well, Christianity isn't a worldview either. It can influence a worldview like atheism can.
Yeah, exactly. And it's whether you answer the question yes or no. That's what those two things are.
What was the first question? I missed it. I was gone.
Is atheism your worldview?
Oh, okay.
But like maybe there are atheists out there. Is there a single atheist here that would consider atheism as their worldview?
No.
Not on this panel, I don't think.
Yeah, not on this panel. I'm sure there's atheists out there that would identify atheism as a worldview, and I would say to them that they're wrong.
Me too.
That there's no way that everything they believe stems from their atheism.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now the reason this stream came about, as Knock will attest, is, and everybody in this room could probably attest to, is there are a lot of Christians out there, and not all of them, but a lot of Christians out there that try and say that all atheists believe the same things, all atheists, are part of this group think, and that atheism is a worldview. Guys like G-Man and.
Matt Powell definitely has it in his story. That's part of his whole argument. Is it's a worldview.
Who cares what G-Man thinks?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be able to answer that question. Maybe Shanny.
Yeah.
The second question should be a question that everyone should be able to answer. I think.
I need more beer for this, dude.
Oh yeah. What does normalizing atheism mean to you? And John, if you'd like to go first, you're right to my left on the screen, so you can go first.
So, atheism means to me that.
What does normalizing atheism mean?
Oh, normalizing atheism. Well, what it means to me is that it should be normal. I mean, I shouldn't, if we are to respect people's religious views, then those people in turn should respect people that don't want to have a religious view. And the idea that, atheists in a lot of states it's still on the books. You can't run for office. They're archaic laws. I don't know if they uphold them, but with the view that a lot of the public has of atheists, even if it wasn't a law, probably wouldn't get elected anyway. So I just want to be part of the group, and you shouldn't be treated different because you don't believe in this unseen being.
He wasn't always unseen if you read the books.
Yeah, I'm covering that in my Bible is Stupid series right now. He was literally
suddenly he's all spiritual. He used to be a fucking volcano god, for fuck's sakes.
and right in the Bible at the very beginning, he's walking through the Garden of Eden. He feels the wind on his face.
Yep.
He's speaking to
couldn't find Adam and Eve. Where are you? Oh, so much for all seeing.
Yeah, he's pretty bad at
I got a little bit of an idea here. Since there is, and I see we must have lost Kevin.
He's trying to come back. There he is.
Okay. Because what we'll do, you asked the question and I answered it, and then and everybody do this, and then when you're done answering it, just pass off to the person next to you on the screen. So I answered the question, so now we'll throw it to
get a good look.
Slade. And then Granny's after Slade, and then Granny's done, she passed it off to him. Then we'll get through the questions, and then at the end, then we can, not at the end of all the questions, but at the end of each question, then you can jump back and forth like you guys were doing there. So Slade, how would you answer that question that Knock posed to us? Oh, you're can't muted. Hear you.
You're muted, Slade.
Yeah, you're muted. There you are. For a minute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. As an Aussie, atheism is actually quite new. So I was one of the unusual kids who was raised religious. It was the only way in which it could be normalized was within my own life and within the family and relatives, who of course all wanted me to remain religious and specifically in their religion. But as a general rule, I never really gave a damn what they thought, so that was
I like this guy already.
Yeah, I envy that. I fucking envy that because I used to live smack dab in the Bible Belt here in the United States, and I still to this day, even now that I'm more north, whatever, even still to this day, like I have this fear that I'll never live to see atheism truly normalized here in the States ever. So to actually grow up to where it's the kind of the reverse, I don't know, that's kind of alien to me. That's cool.
So Granny, how would you answer that question?
As far as how we go about it, I'm not totally sure, but I ran into a major issue with this just a couple of weeks ago. I volunteer as a CASA, a court-appointed special advocate, and we had a hearing, and the permanency of a child was at stake. This was a huge hearing, something that I'd been, working on for years. And I was quite shocked when the judge, unlike most judges in the area, was asking people to take their oath with "So help you God" at the end of it. And there was a very good chance that I was going to testify at this hearing. And I said, I don't want to swear to a God that I'm going to tell the truth. I might as well swear to a pink unicorn. And yeah, I can do it, but it just seems like such a stupid thing to do. And I hate to do something like that in a proceeding that is so important. And I was just really surprised that he even added that, because most judges around here, have taken that out of the oath. So,
right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's just one area where it still hasn't been normalized yet.
Yeah, I always thought people that were going to testify should be swearing on the Constitution, not a Bible, but that's just me. And so, Chris, how do you what does normalizing atheism mean to you?
Well, there's less of a stigma, I believe, now about atheism and atheists than there used to be. I'm kind of hoping we keep in that, but maybe that's me. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I hope we can move towards normalizing it to where it's not such an issue. You know, how many people out there try to get a job and they're afraid to say they're an atheist because they don't want to, you know, or they just don't want to bring it up. I'm going to create another channel, a sci-fi channel, and I've specifically said there's going to be nothing atheist related on it because I don't want it hurting my YouTube metrics on that channel. There's just so many different ways to normalize
Just,
it. It needs to be normalized.
Yeah, I was going to say, ask Knock about that. He, like, the analytics are all screwed up for his channel because YouTube is not putting that stuff out there anymore. You know, it seems like that atheist content kind of went the way of the flat Earth content on YouTube. Neil, how would you answer that question?
Normalizing atheism is not going to be an easy thing because it is absolutely not normalized right now. And you just gave examples of why it's not normalized. YouTube is changing their algorithms so that our shit doesn't show up as much, just like you were saying about flat earthers. Flat earthers, I understand, because that's fucking bonkers bullshit. But atheism deals with something that's not bonkers bullshit. This is us trying to get reality and truth into the swing of things rather than believing in fairy tales. So people are still really, really hard pressed to trust atheists. They're really hard pressed to actually like us. Once I found out, or once I told some of my relatives and stuff like that I was atheist, they kind of backed away from me a little bit. Like, hello, you've never done that to me in my entire life. I was always the first one you guys would come and get to sit at the fucking Passover dinner table because you knew that I love to eat all your great food. But now it's suddenly I'm the last guy you pick, for fuck's sakes. It can change people's minds even out of the norm that you're used to. So atheism is by far not normalized, and it needs to be, because it shouldn't be about this sort of shit. Who gives a shit what you believe, as long as you're a decent human being? And that's why I more rather address myself as, like you were saying, Knock, earlier, as a sexual humanist, or sexual humanist. that too. Secular humanist over atheist, because atheism, like I said earlier, addresses one issue, and it's whether or not you believe in deities. Other than that, I'm all for bettering humanity. And bettering humanity means normalizing everything, not just atheism, but everybody. So that when you say, you tell a little bit about yourself, people don't go, oh, and back away. It should be normalized, period. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, do you worship the devil? I've heard that.
No. I don't believe in the fucking devil either. So
I mean, I've literally, I've still had people tell me that I eat the brains of babies. Like there's still hicks out there that actually believe that shit, and it's hilarious to me. But
you cook them first, right?
I cook them.
Okay.
My co-host on the Apostate Alliance had a discussion with somebody at work recently, and got asked that question. When they were talking about that she was an atheist, does that mean you worship Satan? And Faye just laughed and said, well, look, I just told you I don't believe in God or Jesus. Like, why would I believe in some other supernatural? Hey, real quick, though. Humanist. Oh, wow. Now, that's why you said that, because you got that sitting right there. I'm going to jump over that real quick because my buddy Kevin is here just for his lunch break at work, and I want to make sure he gets a chance to answer.
Well, if you want to let Kevin go before me, John, just to give him time, that's fine. I can go after Kevin if you want.
Right. I'm going to jump right back in line after he goes. So, Kevin, what does normalizing atheism mean to you? You're muted.
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute right now. Let me see here.
No, you're unmuted.
You're unmuted now. You're good.
Now you're muted again.
Oh, now you're muted again.
All right, now you're good.
Now you're good.
Okay. Hi. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for being here.
Gosh. Okay, there's a little lag there. Most of my friends. Oh yeah. For me, I think most of my friends identify privately as atheists, but they wouldn't come out like publicly and do so. So I think that's where we still have some work to do. I've been trying to get more people involved in things like what we're doing here, just having more conversations about it. Because similarly to like everybody else, as an atheist, a lot of my family just kind of shun me, so they'll no longer talk to me, which is fine. But like when you have a group of friends and you all know that about each other, but it's kind of spoken bond. Whereas, you know, if we were a group of Christians spoken about it, it would be we're talking about.
Yeah, nobody would care.
Yeah.
That's the
except maybe some
different
fundamentalists, Muslims.
normalized.
Well, and just so everybody
going on
knows,
with atheists.
and just so everybody knows how we know
absolutely.
Kevin is I accidentally tagged him when I was putting something out on Twitter one day, and he responded back, I don't know who this is, but yeah, I'll retweet this. And then he came to a stream here when we were interviewing Godless Girl, and Godless Girl went in on Kevin, who was in the live chat, and I had to a few times during that stream say, I need to announce that the views expressed by our guest are not necessarily the views of the channel, because Godless Girl was being their normal difficult self.
Whack job.
Yeah. Whack job. Yeah, whack job sums it up. Math Pig, take the floor, buddy.
You know, I'm really glad that
You're breaking up on us, Kevin.
Yeah. Hey,
Kevin.
And we'll get you on when you don't have to do it on your lunch break at some point.
Yeah. But normalizing atheism as much as every single
for sure.
person.
I'll find it there.
As much as every single person on this panel will agree that our end goal is to normalize atheism. I think the problem you're going to have, especially in America and things like that, is because it's so polarized at the minute. What I think the best way to do is not to diminish the fact of normalizing atheism, but is to push more critical and logical thinking. I think education is the key. People are told what their pastor, they learn from their pastors, they learn from their parents. Education, critical thinking, logical thinking, these are the things that we need to push more. And I think as a secondary nature, the more people will fall into atheism and more people they'll be open to it more, because at the minute when you have conversations with fundamentalists who are full-blown into Christianity, they're not going to change. You need to push the critical thinking and logical thinking, not to diminish the normalization of atheism, but I think that's the key to get there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Don't you knock that the more that we push that critical thinking, the more atheists there will be?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've always one of the things that I always like best that Sam Harris has said a long time ago is you defeat Islam the moment you you defeat a bad idea with a good book, something like that, something along those lines. So I've always believed that education is probably the best way. And my answer is really simple to this question. Is I believe that we already, I can't remember who said it. I think we've already somewhat normalized atheism to an extent to where 20 years ago in the Bible Belt, I mean, there was a good chance you would be physically harmed. Now, I think that there's more and more of us are starting to realize that that's not the case anymore. But yeah, I don't want to take up too much time, and I want people to be able to.
Well, and I just want to say too. Well, and I just want to say too, there's many very intelligent people that believe in God. So we're not trying to say anybody that believes in God is stupid, but Math Pig is just saying the more that we put critical thinking out there, the
difference between ignorance and stupidity. When you go to people who are fundamentalists, they are ignorant because they refuse to learn. They refuse to.
We just got it was kind of a broken up chance. Because the guy was driving, but we had spoken to Spartan Theology on Math Pig's channel earlier today, and that's a Christian that promotes critical thinking, learning about his religion, And yeah, I think that would go a long way towards people being open to people that have really used that critical thinking process to get away from religion. But yeah, I'll who's next, John? I think it's
Ethan. Ethan. What does normalizing atheism mean to you?
I would say the best way to describe it would be telling someone I'm an atheist and then them not going, oh, like that is the reaction I would very much like to get rid of, to the point that you don't actually have to say you're an atheist anymore because it's not a big deal. It's completely normal.
Yeah. The fact that you can
And
yeah, that's the dream. I think. I hope I'm alive to see it.
I don't think.
And here's one of our another one of our newest friends here. Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't done, Ethan. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I don't think we'll see it in our lifetime. It would be nice, but we definitely have an uphill battle, specifically because religion, in my opinion, has done us a huge disservice by making us immoral, and we are in a constant uphill battle against that. And additionally, I think we also should be holding other atheists accountable, because if we're out lashing out at everybody, then that makes our job twice as hard. We have to fight even harder to prove that we're not just a bunch of jerks wanting to tell people they're wrong. So me personally, I believe in the approach of, as annoying as it can be, occasionally taking a back seat and allowing to someone to, insult me or be more aggressive. I'm okay with taking the back seat, because usually I find by the end of the conversation, they're like, wow, their opinion has changed a little bit. And while I'd love to go for the gotchas, I recognize that those gotchas is just something that I want to do and doesn't necessarily further the conversation in any way.
Yeah, I agree with that. Some of the people, like MathPig was referencing, though, like some of the real fun, or maybe it was 604.
No,
the real fundies, it's hard not to go at them hard, because
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, to give you an example, the other day I had a round table on death with dignity, and unfortunately, one of the people bailed last minute, so it wasn't an even round table. Like, I wanted the people for it and people against it, but after the roundtable ended, the girl and I privately got into it, because all she could keep saying is, well, God doesn't want you to play, or you can't play God with lives. And it's so frustrating because she could be so condescending. And I guess those are the people that I do sometimes get less than friendly with, is when they laugh off what you're saying or call what you're saying silly. Those are the type of people where I do get pissed off with.
Yeah. I think it.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think you got to kind of use your gut. I think back in the day, I don't know if you all saw. I had an experience with Smokey Saint, one of the new Christians that are debating on Modern Day Debate now, and he's quickly sucked his way into that circle.
He really likes you, Knock.
Yeah, well, I went in there, and when he started berating me and started calling me names and started the personal attacks, like back in the day, I would have just went in at him no matter what. But I was able to just sit there and mainly keep my cool, laugh about, just calling me a blatant racist, calling me an anti-Semite, just laugh about it. And what it ended up doing is it just showed him for what he was, instead of portraying me, who in that moment, I have to realize, well, as an atheist, I am speaking for atheism right now, and we have been demonized. So maybe it's not good for me to give back what he's given me right now. Maybe I just sit here and let him do it, and it makes him look horrible because he's supposed to have this, whatever it is, this Christianity. So no, I totally agree. I think you got to feel out your gut, and it's something that I've learned. And it's, I think beyond anything, that I wouldn't have started making videos when I was a very, very staunch anti-theist, in that angry phase of coming out as an atheist, So,
and the thing is too is, all right, so supposedly Knock is a racist because he said a phrase similar to that the people who wrote the Bible were just a bunch of ancient goat fuckers. And
Yeah.
and now I
They
tried to
didn't know where
explain
the
to
sun
this,
went at night.
right. Well, and I tried to explain to this guy, look, that's not a racist comment. Okay. He wasn't making a comment about an entire ethnicity or an entire race. He was talking about a very specific group, the people that wrote the Bible. His response to part of his response to that was, well, I gave my argument why he is a racist, and everybody in the hangout agreed with me, and one of them was even an atheist. And I said, look, dude, is that how you judge the soundness of an argument? Is that how many people agree with you? That's not the way it works, my friend.
Lowered standards, man.
Can I make a point? I'd like to make a point real quick.
Oh, go for it.
So something that kind of gets me is that, Ethan said earlier, we kind of got to keep our other atheists in check to keep us from being that mean atheist who's doing stuff. We've got thousands of years of these people killing us, burning us, killing us, doing horrible, horrible things. Now they oppress us. In 7 or 8 states, you can't hold public office if you're a non-believer. Godless Granny just mentioned earlier how there's some judge out there who is making you say one nation or swear to God before you can testify in his court. They oppress us at every turn, and yet when we bristle at it, we're the bad guys. I'm kind of tired of hearing that myself. They're just going to need to listen to me bristle whenever they come at me.
I agree with that too.
I guess I should clarify more carefully.
This is not just you, brother.
No, I know.
This is this notion of an angry atheist or a mean atheist. Atheists are mean. We're ugly. We're hateful. Fuck that. Excuse me. Sorry. If I don't know if we can cuss here or not. Because man, they have been killing people. Half the reason why the problems we have right now, as far as people not wearing their masks today, is because there's a war on science by religion. In our country right now, and it's literally costing lives, and we're the bad guys. I'm kind of getting tired of hearing that myself. I'm not going to bristle.
Before you guys go, hold on. Before you guys
always be the people who are not in power, the people who are pushing the mainstream, the people who are pushing these ideas, the people who are making the votes. We'll always be the bad guys because we are a threat to their power.
I guess let me clarify.
Just real quick before we go down. Hold on, real quick before we keep going down this rabbit hole. I want to get our last panelist in on this question. We saved the best for last year. Another new friend.
Did Godless Granny answer, or did we get mixed up?
Yeah. We went. It's just the only one left that didn't answer this question is Mindy, the sassy heathen, and she's a new friend of the channel and myself. She followed me on Twitter, and I followed her back, and so I invited her to this tonight. So, Mindy, how would you say, what does normalizing atheism mean to you?
What's up, Drag?
I'm fairly new to all of this. And I live in an area in Canada where yes, I'm in Ontario though. So, yeah, see, I knew that was coming. But I live in an area where religion is really not a big deal. No one really cares. Yeah. And it's weird because my husband's American, so I am down in Pennsylvania right now. And it's a completely different world when it comes to religion and the way it's treated down here. And there's a lot of entitlement when it comes to Christianity. They just seem that they think that everything has to be their way. And because they're Christian, that means they're better. So I think normalizing atheism would be kind of like leveling out the playing field and making them understand that they're not the only ones. There's other people, there's other beliefs, and you don't have to agree with us, but you don't got to treat us like dirt either. Like when I started getting involved with this community and I started debating and I started talking to people, I find that I spend more time trying to convince the people that I'm talking to that I'm not a terrible person rather than discussing the ideas. Like I have to convince somebody that I'm worth talking to because I'm an atheist rather than let's sit down and talk about these ideas. And that gets really tiring and really frustrating. So if they could come at it and accept us as I'm just another person. I believe something different than you, but I'm still a normal person. I still have values. I still have morals. I'm not terrible just because I don't believe in your God. So it would be nice if, not that they have to agree with us, but just accept us as somebody different. That would be nice.
Yeah. And now there was a couple people that were still commenting on this question, and I cut you off to get Mindy in. Is there anything anybody else wants to add to this question before Knock goes on to the next one?
I do. I want to add to it because I want to agree with both Ethan and Chris, and then I want to give Ethan a chance to say what he wanted to say. So, because I've always been a person that was like attack. I've been called a bulldog, and I've always been comfortable with that. But I've seeing different approaches. I've been able to kind of tame that down. And I think that you really have to kind of just use your gut and determine which situation calls for which reaction. But like to what Chris was saying, like I totally agree. I think I just mentioned this on the stream because I showed my tattoo, and somebody had mentioned, well, maybe that wasn't the smartest thing to do, and I'm like, you're right. In this society, it isn't, but it should be. It should be perfectly okay for me to have this tattoo right here. And I shouldn't have to worry about any ramifications. And yet, almost on a daily basis, if somebody figures it out, there's a conversation. Why do you have that? That's offensive to me. Like I mean, that's literally like if I were to say as an atheist, you wearing your cross around your neck is offensive to me. It's ridiculous, So I think that's what it is. That we should have some anger about the way we're treated in society. And Chris is exactly right, because I covered the witch trials, and they weren't burning people just because they were witches. They were burning people because they weren't Christian, or they were strong-minded women that didn't want to be dominated by a husband, or they were gathering herbs because they healed their town with knowledge, scientific fucking knowledge that they figured out pretty much on their own through generations of word of mouth. So it's like, we should be angry about that, but at the same time, they do still completely have the power over us. So it is the approach of trying to get more power as we're moving along generation after generation.
And then he wanted to go to Ethan, and I saw that Neil had his hand up. So Ethan, if you had wanted to get in what you were trying to say a few moments ago, and then we'll go over to Neil.
Yeah, I should have more carefully explained. I'm not suggesting that we take a fluffy bunny approach with everyone. There are obviously times to ridicule bad ideas, and there are times to meet force with force. What I'm suggesting is, with the average person, not necessarily with politicians or people in office that are doing us continual harms repeatedly, but just with the average person, sometimes exercising a bit more patience when possible, because I find that they are more receptive if you are willing to occasionally take a little bit and just carefully articulate your point. I am not saying that's the right scenario I'm not saying that's the right method for every scenario, by any means.
Well, and I do think your approach brings you a different type of Christian, a little bit, because you get a lot of, from what I've seen so far, you get a lot of genuine conversations, to where I get a lot of trolls, and I'm really defending against Christian trolls, basically, is what they are, and they're a really bad representation of what the real Christian is. So go ahead, John.
No, I'm just going to throw it to Neil.
Oh, I just wanted to address a comment made in the chat by Marty Cameo. Saying that for some reason not being a Christian is on par with being a child molester, and there's actually a recent study census that was done that said that Christians or believers in general would trust their children around pedophiles more than they would trust their children around atheists.
I remember seeing that. That was crazy.
Yeah, we are one of the most one of the most untrusted demographics in this country, in America.
And Marty, by the way, I did not get an email from you. It's possible it went into my spam filters. So I suggest maybe trying again, okay?
So, Knock, what's the next question?
Yeah, we'll get to the next question. I see in the chat, now that I'm actually over to the chat. Saxy Calzone, what's up, man? Been a while. Do you do these panels often? I'd love to get into one. It's working pretty good so far. So yes, I'm going to be doing these more. Having this many people is new to StreamYard.
Yeah.
So I'm just now able to kind of get back to this. We'll be getting back to this actually. So yeah, more than welcome to come back on. Yeah, yes, it just started. So more than welcome to have you back on, Saxy. I will be trying to do an atheist panel like this at least once a month because I think that it's important. I get lost in the argument and conversation sometimes, so I need to talk to my own more. So, and I do want to show that we're different people and we should be allowed to be different people. So the next question is.
Hold it.
Go ahead.
Who's this Gordon person?
Gordon.
It claims that atheism reinforces the perspective of child molest, which is not true. And of all of see, that's not true. None of that is true. Atheism deals with one thing.
You see, a statement like that isn't even worth addressing.
It is fucking so worth addressing because he's going to keep perpetuating this stereotype bullshit.
Well, yes, right. You're giving him attention.
Atheism must have. I don't care. I'm going to address
it. He's probably a nifty.
Atheism must have influenced my decision to try and donate a kidney to save someone's life, I guess. Atheism must have driven me to become a champion blood donor in my city and save 3 lives every time I donate blood. I guess atheism influenced that too. You fucking idiot. Atheism addresses one thing. Do I believe in a God? No, I don't. Give me some evidence. I could change my mind. I mean,
I love those arguments. I really do because it.
Fuck off with that.
What it is it's a displacement technique. It's he understands that his religion tells him that it's okay to once a woman starts to menstruate, then she's a woman, right? So I mean, it tells him that pedophilia is okay, so he's got to justify it and he's got to displace that onto atheism because. We're the enemy. But I see you, dog. I see you in the chat. You're probably a nifty.
Well, yeah, and apparently now, Gordon, if you so are you saying that if you stop believing in God tomorrow, you'd go out and start raping children?
Probably.
In this scenario, I am okay
you're the bad one
approach because this is fucking bullshit that someone would say something like that. And I agree that
that's all he wants is
this guy, I'm starting to think this guy's a troll because he just said, I proved that creation is a scientific fact.
Which is all the scientific facts are against creation.
Trigger people.
So anyway, let's go on. Let's forget this guy and go on to the next question. What was the next question, Doc?
Yeah, somebody dump him out of there.
No, we let the weirdo stay.
I can't.
There's a very
I can fucking shut that guy up.
There's a very good chance that could be Icky Taint on a account.
Who'd we lose?
He's probably trying to hide right now.
We lost somebody from the stream.
Kevin. It's probably his breakover, John. Next question.
Oh, was somebody else?
It wasn't Kevin. It was Chris Mallard.
Kevin was gone.
Oh yeah, we lost Chris actually.
Yeah, Chris was looking like he was having trouble with his audio, so he's probably dropped out to come back in.
He'll probably pop back in. All right, so next question there, Doc.
All right, so let's just get to let's get out of religion. What is your gun stance?
I have a shotgun and an air rifle up the stairs.
No, we're gonna go right down the line again here, so we don't get too all jumbled up. Okay, me and Doc have had this discussion a couple of times. We're on different sides of this issue. I definitely, my aggregate score, I'm way on the liberal side, politically speaking. But as far as guns go, I think the Second Amendment is sacrosanct. There should be common sense, gun control, but as far as people that want to get rid of all guns, I cannot abide by that because it's in the Constitution. People have a right to bear arms.
Yep.
And then we'll go to Slade.
Well, over here you have to get licenses for guns, otherwise they're illegal. And usually people don't have it unless they've got access to country properties or somewhere where a range. We've got guns in the family, but yeah, they're already used. But yeah, we have rules against, like, if you have mental problems or whatever, be able to get it. So you have to have a few hoops to jump through, and it seems to work pretty well. We don't have all the violence that you guys have. We don't have toddlers shooting themselves and all that sort of stuff. They have to also be locked up, and cops can inspect that.
Math pig.
Well, I'm in Northern Ireland, so it's different from the UK or from the USA. We don't have the Second Amendment or anything like that. And the way it stands, strangely enough, with the troubles aside, you can actually get more powerful guns in Northern Ireland than you can in England. But I grew up around guns, and considering the stance that I like to be self-sufficient. You know, we grow our own vegetables in my mother's house. We have solar panels. You know, we have wind farms. I like the taste of meat. If you want to go get a rabbit, you want to go do this, you know, you're going to have to kill it. And the fact that, you know, society has taken that out of it is a bad thing. I inherited my guns from my father. I have a shotgun and I have an air rifle. I spent an entire 2 months training with the air rifle, mainly because my daughter is beautiful and I have to shoot all boyfriends coming. But that gun can't kill. I prefer to do target practice. I prefer to do these things. This is what I spent 2 months doing. I've killed pigeons because they've set the alarm off at work. I've killed rabbits because they've ate my vegetables. This is a necessity. But I'm not going to say that guns are necessarily bad. They do provide, I'm not going to say a service or a necessity, but in the UK, we get fucking checked. For me to get my guns, I had to wait 2 months. I had to send away to the police. The police had to come to my house. They had to make sure that I had a gun cabinet. They had to make sure that it was bolted to a concrete wall. They did a background check at me. I had to go through a gun shop. I couldn't just take the guns from my father, who lived literally 300 yards away from me. They had to go to the gun shop for 2 months before I could get, you know, gun laws are necessary. I don't have a problem with guns. I have a problem with unlicensed and
Bye-bye, Gordon. Sorry.
Yeah. And so, Ethan, you are next.
Okay, I personally think in America we have a serious problem, and I think many of us are indoctrinated to think that, hey, we can't think beyond the Second Amendment. And the idea that a gun is a inherent right in America, I think is, in my opinion, I think the majority of the U.S. population, I can't speak to people outside because I'm not there, are not qualified to own a gun. And I think the Second Amendment needs some serious reconsideration. For example, I don't think you should be able to purchase a gun just because you have a FOIA card. I think you should be required to take gun education courses, and additionally, I think you should be required to take self-defense courses, because too many people are, in my opinion, too stupid to understand the difference between a legitimate threat and a threat. And for example, I spent many years in a bar, and I can assure you, if I or many people had a gun handy, it would have ended more quickly. Or if I was quick to react and not actually think about the situation, more people would be dead. But the fact that I can recognize a real threat versus somebody just acting like a jackass, I think it's something we need to be teaching. And people they just don't get it. And it drives me up a wall. And
saying exactly what I was going to say.
Very much, Ethan.
It is and I hate to take this extreme position, I think it's a cowardly approach. Somebody making a mistake is not worth ending their life.
There you go,
Can
Chris.
you hear me?
The very first night I got my gun license,
Chris.
I had the shotgun and the air rifle. I went to my mother's land that has a half acre, which we're allowed to shoot on legally. And I brought my best friend that I've known for 26 years. That man was so excited to shoot a fucking gun. You know, I made him wait for the hour till my father arrived and we could go through the education, because the guns were his. He's ex-army. He knows the law. He knows the safety procedures. And, you know, as you say, some people are just excited to have the fact of a gun.
Hey, so we got jumbled up here when we added somebody, but the next person in the line was Granny.
Okay, first, the Second Amendment was never intended to allow personal gun ownership. The actual reading of the amendment is a well-regulated militia being necessary to secure a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Yeah,
the right of the people
states.
to keep, but it's two clauses in the same sentence.
Right,
and if you go back and read the papers, you know, it was never intended to be a personal right. It was intended to allow the states to form a militia so that they could have the revolution. And so, you know, wanting to pass gun control laws is not a violation of the Second Amendment. We have gone to great lengths to find rights in that amendment that were never intended to be there. That being said, you know, I think we need a lot more gun control, and all of the school shootings we see are just proof positive of that. And, you know, all these people that say, well, I need a gun for my own protection, people who own guns and someone breaks into their house, the gun owner is far more likely to be injured or killed than the person breaking into the house.
Mm-hmm. Statistics show that.
And then, so Mindy.
You're muted, Mindy.
There we go. I have a new headset, so it's getting used to it. I am, again, a protected little Canadian, so we don't have guns in my area. Like, I know
we
further
do. We have guns. You can't own an automatic. That's all.
Yes, we do have guns. But for me personally, growing up, I have never actually seen one. I've never touched a gun. I've never been in the same room as a gun that has not been attached to, like, a police officer.
Two.
Funny story, Sassy. My father used my mother's pregnant baby belly for my younger brother as a stand while he shot things in the garden.
He grew up to be a sharpshooter.
So when it comes to guns, I don't know. My husband is American again, so he is very pro-gun. Me personally, I don't like them. I don't think that they should be in a house and anywhere near children. And yeah, we should do definitely background checks, very, very extensive background checks, so that, you know, these weapons don't end up in the hands of people that have domestic abuse charges or mental health issues. Like me, myself, I'm diagnosed with depression and anxiety. In Canada, I would never be allowed to own a gun. That's and right. I'm okay with that. And I agree with that. Now, down here in Pennsylvania, my husband can just walk into a store and buy a gun and walk out, and that's it. And that is terrifying. Yes, that is terrifying, because it's like, who knows what he's going to do with that gun? They just let him buy it and walk out. Like, that's terrifying. So I think I don't oppose people owning guns. It's just we have to make sure that they don't end up in the hands of the people that will do bad things with them.
Exactly.
Basically.
Deal.
Good luck.
Shooting my daughter's boyfriends for them being bastards is a good reason to have guns.
Okay. Somebody mute that guy, will you?
Hey, so Neil, what is your response to this question?
I don't have a problem with owning guns. I have two myself, but they're like 22 shotguns, dude. They're nothing. They're for shooting gophers and shit like that. But anyway,
22s don't kill gophers, by the way, because my father-in-law tried to kill a gopher with a 22. Didn't work.
I know.
Just got pissed off.
I actually wasn't finished, but that's okay. I don't shoot them to kill them. I shoot them and watch them jump up and down as they run away. But anyway, I don't have a problem with people owning guns. I don't see the need to own a fucking AR-15. I don't see the need for it. Unless you're going to war, what do you fucking need? You want a handgun, a shotgun? I don't care. You can own that. Keep it in your house. Keep it safe. Keep it away from kids. All that stuff. Learn how to use the gun. Take a course. Get certified. Then you can own a gun, in my opinion.
And Kevin, I see you made it back in. What are your stance on this question?
He might not actually be there. I'm not sure.
Then we'll go to Chris.
Well, I was having difficulties with the question or with my microphone during the question. I was in and out. What's the exact question? I know it has to do with guns, obviously. But
just what is your gun stance? Whatever it is, be honest.
Opinion on owning them, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, I'm not against people owning guns, but I am for sensible regulation of guns. I'm very against this whole notion that everybody and their dog needs a gun. Other countries don't do that. We do it. You know, Obama came into office and the NRA and the conservatives started going, oh my God, he's coming to get your guns. He's coming to get your guns, and flooded our country with millions and millions and millions of guns. And look what happened. The gun violence skyrocketed, school shootings skyrocketed, all these things. I personally blame the NRA and the conservatives for their capitulation and for what they did to help flood our government or our country with guns. Everybody and their dogs. School teachers need to have guns now. Other countries don't need school teachers with guns, but ours do, because we've spent we spent years now flooding our country with hundreds of millions of guns, and thus now we do need armed protections at our school, because anybody who doesn't have a stable mind can still get a hold of a gun. And guess what? Who took away the money to help support the people who didn't have stable minds? It was the conservatives, because we didn't have money. And yet we get a little pandemic and the economy's threatened and they drop $6 trillion. You know what I'm saying? We were set up to fail here.
Breathe.
Yes, breathe. So yes, my opinion on guns. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
on guns.
and I'll tell you what. I'm glad that you were the last one in line when the screen jumbled again, or I would have lost my place again. And so, Knock, you asked the question, Knock, and you didn't answer it. So, what's your answer to that question before we go to the next one?
Yeah, so I'm going to assume that most of the people on this panel are on the left side of the political spectrum. I skipped that question. And if you're not, you don't have to say that you are, but so far you haven't heard a single lefty say, we're going to get rid of all your guns.
No.
You haven't heard that. Now you are. Because I am a lefty, and if I was a dictator of the world, I would take every single one of your fucking guns. I would shoot them to the fucking moon or to the sun. I would get rid of every single one of them. I wouldn't allow our militaries of the world to have guns or missiles or none of that shit.
Well,
that is my pipe dream. But I'm a realist. So I understand that, like Math Pig was saying, there are literally people that hand down guns from generation to generation to generation. It is a family heirloom. We do live in a society where there is a gun culture. So what I think, and it's probably been said before.
Personally, my father's guns are older than me, and they're hand engraved. And even I have never shot the shotgun. This August, I'll have the shotgun a full year, and I've never shot it once.
Yeah, my dad has guns that came from my great grandfather and shit, you know. So I think it needs to be a lot harder to get guns, but I think our main issue is the gun industry itself. It's the gun manufacturers here in this country. They get away with whatever they want to do. People always say criminals are going to get it no matter what. Criminals are only getting guns because the gun manufacturers are pushing those guns onto the black markets. We need to be able to regulate our gun manufacturers, and we need to be able to prosecute our gun manufacturers when their weapons are used inappropriately. And we need to make sure everybody that's getting a gun is trained how to use one safely. So that's my stance. But in my dream world, I'm going to be that lefty. I'm just going to say I'd shoot them all to the fucking sun.
Yeah. You know, here's a question for everybody before we move on that I thought of when Chris was giving his answer is, so how many, and I know that there's an actual statistic out there, and if any of you know it, please tell me, but we're a country of what, 320 million? How many guns do you think
wasn't
there are?
Pre-coronavirus numbers?
Pre-coronavirus, that's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
just wait till it's over with.
How many guns do you think are in this country? Because I've heard statistics where there's way more guns than there are people.
I've heard 350 million. 350 million.
I think the average is 3 guns per American.
That's
not
crazy.
per American. Come on.
There's 300 and some odd million Americans. That would put almost a billion guns.
A billion guns.
Yeah, no, I think it's like 350 million guns. A lot of those being collectors, and a lot of those also being in the South. Yeah. And I mean, as the Republicans would say, they're all in Chicago, Ethan.
They're all in Chicago and Detroit.
Oh yeah.
All right.
But
So
plenty.
what's that next question there, Knock?
All right, I'm gonna. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Isn't the gun like the Constitution supposed to be the guns are there to protect you from an oppressive government or something like that?
Well,
Yeah, part of it,
partially,
but
partially.
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that. No.
Hey, I'm still alive. You guys have all failed.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's always been my stance. So if that is their argument, and I think maybe possibly, it's been a long time since I read the actual Supreme Court ruling that did give an individual right. It was a Republican Supreme Court that ruled on this back in the 80s. Before then, I mean, there was no individual right. A Republican Supreme Court interpreted it to mean.
Well, wait.
According
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree with you on that. And I'm not trying to disagree with Granny, but when I read the amendment that she read, I take those two separate clauses as two separate clauses. And when it says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, when they say the people, they mean the people. Just like at the beginning, we the people. They're talking about everybody in the country. They're not talking about one group or another. It's the people. And everywhere else in the Constitution, when it refers to the people, they're talking about all of us.
You
can interpret the Second Amendment to not only mean what Granny was saying, but how I'm interpreting it as well.
Well, that's because as far as I understand it, when law is written,
Sounds like the Bible now.
It's according to the letter of the law. We had this conversation. The sentence doesn't end. It's all part of the same clause, in my opinion. So it's giving the right of the people to bear arms. You're right, in the form of a militia. It doesn't end that sentence. It continues to say militia. So, in my opinion,
militia comes before.
Say
hold
what?
on. Mathpig, you don't have an email? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I have his email. That's what I meant. That's right. If you watch for another 5 seconds.
I don't know. We'll be stuck on this, John, for about 40 minutes if we get into this too hardcore.
Yeah, well, there's a relationship between the Second Amendment and slaveholders wanting to maintain their slaves, too. I think y'all should probably look that up as well.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Doc. What's the next question, man?
Well, who else is going to clean your gun?
I'm going to skip the next hot button question. Maybe we'll come back to it. We still have time.
No, what is it? What are you skipping? Tell us what you're skipping.
I'm skipping abortion for now.
No.
We're aborting abortion.
So we're gonna go to.
If he didn't say it, I was gonna.
We're gonna go. We might come back to it, but I wanted to hit. I just wanted to show how atheists we have different answers. I think pretty much every single one of us has had a different answer, except for maybe is atheism at your worldview. That was the gimme that we were all going to agree on. Do you think hate crimes should require extra punishment?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think that
here's another
scale.
discussion that me and Knock have had in the past. Okay. No, I don't think they should. Okay. If you kill someone, you've committed murder, and there are penalties for that. If you start, delving into what people are thinking in their minds, and I know a lot of times, when it happens, that it's pretty overt. You can overtly tell that someone is a racist or someone is a homophobe or whatever, and that was an impetus, to them committing their crime.
And John, most of the time that's known before the murder even takes place.
Well, right. But what I'm saying is that if you start saying that you're going to add penalties based on a person's motive when there's already penalties in place for the crime you commit, that's like mind police. That's like
you're acting like God, coveting and all that shit.
What's that?
You start acting like God, coveting and all that, right? He knows what you're thinking, and you're going to get extra. Like fuck that.
Right.
If you murder somebody, you're tried for murder. I don't care what your motives are.
And so let's go right down the line again. And go ahead.
Well, my opinion, so you can skip me.
I pretty much agree with what you guys said.
Well, I think Ethan's next. The names are just so small, and I haven't learned everybody's name yet.
I agree. I think we can't, as much as it would be nice to, not necessarily nice, but to punish hate crime more severely, we would be getting into dangerous territory, and we could easily label things hate crimes that are not indeed hate crimes.
Exactly.
I don't know that that's a big problem, though. You know, if somebody comes out and beats somebody up and yells, "Hey, queer," or whatever as they beat them up, that's kind of obvious. These are, whenever we apply the term hate crime, it's usually fairly obvious as to why they're doing it.
But no, I'm not saying. Well, here's the thing, though. We're not talking about whether you can call something a hate crime.
No,
we're talking about whether there should be whether there should be additional penalties if it is a hate crime.
All right, so
anyway, I fucked up there. Because I can't read. I'm an old man. I jumped to Ethan when actually Slade was next. So go ahead, Slade.
Who put this guy in charge?
Let Ethan finish his answer, and then we'll let Slade go.
So let's say right now there is a fight at a bar, and let's say two straight guys beat up a gay guy. Now, immediately, the media or people could jump on that and say it's a hate crime. But if we look at it more closely, what if the gay individual in that scenario started attacking and the other two were just defending themselves? And
that's not what we're talking about. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about it is a hate crime. We know it's a hate crime. The guys came out and said, "Hey, dude, you stupid queer," and beat them up because they're gay. We know it. There's no question about that. Should there be more punishment? So if a guy accidentally bumps into a guy and spills his beer, and the guy who got his beer spilt turns around and beats up guy B, I don't think he should suffer the same punishment as somebody who came out and intentionally assaulted somebody and called them hateful, racist names and something like that. That's a different level. I gotta go.
I'll be agreeing with Chris once I get to my turn. Go ahead, Chris. What's up?
I'm sorry. I gotta go. I didn't mean to step on Slade's turn. I gotta go. Thank you guys for having me on this thing. You guys have been wonderful.
Oh, sure. Slade's out now.
Hey, Chris, we got to get you back on, man.
Yeah, well, this is late for Chris. He does that morning show, so
I like your passion, man.
Thank you, Ranty Chris, they call it, I guess. But it's not for everybody. Trust me, it's not.
When I answer this question, I'll definitely be agreeing.
I'd hate to get Chris and Neil in the same room arguing over something, man. That would be like
it's rare that him and I disagree on things. So
it is. Yeah. We're pretty aligned. So you guys have a great night. Stay safe, and I'll see y'all hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
All right, now I gotta watch my shit here because when he leaves, it's gonna jumble again.
You watch your shit.
All right,
because it didn't jumble too bad.
Well, real quick, did Ethan finish?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
oh, that's right. Chris did kind of interrupt him. Go ahead, Ethan.
We're saying that we know for certainty it's a hate crime. We're not arguing like in situations where we're not sure. We're saying we know for a fact this is a hate crime, and then
does it deserve extra penalty? Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to lean on the side of no, just because I feel like it's entering into dangerous territory, which can lead to people. I don't know. I'm going to say no.
All right, next Slade. What do you?
And I do remind everybody they don't have to answer the questions, but these are questions nobody is really going to answer the same. They're going to all have their own reasons for it.
What the hell are you talking about, man? I have a fucking button on everybody's seat, an ejection button. If you don't answer, you're fine.
I'm just very nervous about punishing a hate crime more severely where that can lead, because I feel like it's just going to open the door for more abuses and labeling more things hate crimes that may not actually be hate crimes.
Well, right, and in the scenario that Chris painted too. Okay, so a guy beats a person down at a bar just because they had a dispute over something. Maybe they were even friends and they had a dispute, and he beats him down, and the guy ends up dying in the hospital. And then
I wish I had friends.
And the guy and the guy who died happened to be black. So, but they were friends to begin with. Now, are you going to all of a sudden say, well, he was black, it's a hate crime? I mean,
you guys pay attention to the chat because Miss India's in the chat. And she says to say hi to everybody.
Hello, Miss India.
I'm going to say I don't know at this time. I would need to think about this thoroughly before I give an answer I'm confident in.
I think in that scenario, John, that wouldn't be labeled a hate crime. See, I'm hoping, and I do believe that most investigators do their due diligence, and it's not labeled a hate crime unless it's truly a hate crime. Unless, I believe it was Ahmaud Arbery who, as more and more footage came out, we saw more and more of the words that were being spoken as they killed that man. And that's a definite hate crime. Like, there's ways to prove whether or not it's a real hate crime or whether it's just if you're two buddies, that's probably evidence that it's not a hate crime because you were friends with that person before that situation happened.
But I mean, maybe that wasn't a good example on my part. But here's the thing: do you think anybody's ever been executed wrongly? An innocent person?
Oh, of course. I don't believe in the death penalty at all.
Okay, well, I don't either. But you were just saying that you're going to trust the investigators to get it right every time, and if you
I just said that I hope they're doing their due diligence. I'm saying that in most instances, I think that in cases of hate crimes, that you have to prove that it's an actual hate crime. So and I think,
like I said,
it's probably hard to prove it.
Hate crimes are pretty obvious, dude.
Yeah,
they're pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's an obvious hate crime, like with the Ahmaud Arbery tapes, or in my opinion, George Floyd was an obvious hate crime to me. Dude had a problem with had a long time problem with certain individuals.
Just because most of them are obvious, though, doesn't mean that people wouldn't. If you added penalties to it. I
don't want to get us too derailed because I think you probably guessed my position by now. But let's continue. Let's continue along.
And Slade.
Yes. Okay. I understand why.
Hey, Rainbow.
Greater penalties have been decided for hate crimes because it's usually for groups of people who have been hunted down. Like you got black people who have had. So people actually go after them and en masse. And same with trans people. There's been times when entire villages have gone out to beat somebody or burn somebody because of those things. So I understand the concept that in order to make these populations feel safe, you got to get really strict with the penalties. I don't know that therefore means it should continue to be greater penalties. But I do.
There are penalties for hate crimes that could be tacked onto a murder crime. There are penalties for hate crimes.
There is. At least here in the States.
I agree with that or not, but I do certainly understand why they've done it in order to get like systematic violence under control in the population. And and I think like since those rules have come in, and I think over the last few decades, it's certainly been a worldwide phenomenon to add those extra things that a lot of hate crimes are diminishing. So it might be an effective thing, whether that makes it right or not, I don't know. I certainly understand the thinking behind it.
And what do you have to say about this math pick?
I think he's asleep.
No, I'm wide awake.
Okay.
I'm keeping up with the chat and I'm talking back and forth. There's so much going on.
Is it too much for you? You gonna short circuit on us, or
technically, Manda's sending me nudes.
Is your little pinky tail gonna go even more curly?
Oh no, Manda's sending me nudes.
Straighten out.
Distracted.
Understandable. Oh, he's dying. He's dying. 911. Somebody call 911.
Wait.
So do you have something you want to say about this math pick?
What's your
I think he's confused.
I wasn't paying attention to class 10.
Whether there should be additional penalties for hate crimes.
10 people is an awful lot too much.
All right. The question.
The blood's in the wrong brain right now.
The question was: should owning a gun be a hate crime? That was the question, Matt.
No. I hate for owning guns is the potential boyfriends that my daughter will have.
All right, Granny, what do you have to say about this?
I would say that, your statement that it's more difficult to prove motive as a factor is invalid, because that's a factor in a number of crimes already. If you want to convict someone of first-degree murder, you have to prove that this was planned ahead of time, and that goes to the thought process. It's also a factor, it's an element of libel and slander. If you bring a charge of libel or slander against someone who has libeled or slandered a celebrity, you have to prove malice aforethought. And you have to prove the thought process in order to prove malice aforethought. So proving a forethought is already part of our legal system. So it is not a reason to disallow an extra penalty for a hate crime. The whole purpose of having extra penalties for hate crimes is to try to normalize sections of the population that are protected classes. And until those protected classes are normalized, they need the extra help of having it be an additional crime to target them for being a member of that protected class.
She's so
Well,
smart.
and I got to tell you what.
I have a JD.
Yeah, well, no, I'll tell you what. That was
Me too, but I mean Judgment Dragon video card. But
I'm going to have to rethink my stance after hearing what Granny had to say. And Neil, you answered, but did you have anything to add to what you had said earlier?
No. I pretty much stated it. It's pretty simple for me. There are, like exactly like Granny said, there are processes in the courts for figuring this stuff out. Right? You commit murder because you dislike someone for whatever reason, they'll figure that out in the court, and the extra charges will be added for whatever. Like you'll get a life sentence plus whatever, like there'll be added charges because it was intentional, because there was racial hatred or bigoted hatred or whatever that enforced it. It'll be handled by the courts. So,
Mindy.
Yeah.
This is a tough one because I kind of been mulling it around in my head, and I think
don't do that; it hurts.
Yes and no. If we're looking at someone that's committed murder because of a hate crime, then obviously we're going to try the murder, deal with the murder. If we're looking at lesser hate crimes, I think what would be more beneficial than throwing them into the prison system is working on education. So just like somebody that has an issue with anger, and we send them to anger management, we should have like tolerance classes where you go and you learn and you're educated, because a lot of times hate crimes happen because this is the way that they were raised. They were never exposed to anything but racism or whatever it is, hate crime, right? So if we can sit down and educate them and kind of deal with the core issue about their beliefs, then we can prevent it in the future from them happening again. Because what's going to happen if you throw them in prison? You're going to toss them in there. Nothing's going to be fixed. They're going to come out and they're going to do it again, because nothing's been changed. Nothing's been fixed. Nothing, we have to address the core issue if we're going to solve the problem on a large scale. So I would say that somebody that is convicted of a hate crime should have to do these kind of classes or have some kind of education to help them. We have to help rehabilitate them, just like we do with addicts. We have to rehabilitate, because that's what's going to solve the problem, not throwing them in prison or penalizing them like either monetarily or more prison time.
I agree.
If they're rehabilitatable.
Yeah, we have.
But we have to at least try.
Of course.
Who joined us?
We have two new people.
Brainbug.
Brainbug, first time on the stream. Glad to have you on the stream. And Marty, I am kind of cheating. Marty's a polytheist.
Yeah, I was just saying, man.
Yeah, she's a polytheist, but it's been too long, so I couldn't be like, no, Marty, it's only atheist tonight, because I haven't had her on forever.
I know, I haven't been on it a minute now.
I know it's been too long, but I mean, she's basically an atheist. The Christians would call her an atheist.
Marty's an honorary atheist.
At the least, the heathen.
I just want to ask Brian a question. Brian, did you find the beetle?
Did I find the beetle? No, I think he got out. I think he
was it.
I want to see the cobalt.
What did Ringo
Brian
Starr
brought
was
a
in your
fucking
house?
big giant beetle in from the backyard the other day and put it in a box, and then when he woke up the next morning, the box was open and the beetle was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was asking if he found a beetle in his house. I thought maybe Ringo Starr had stopped over for a visit. Well, since Math Pig asked you a question, why don't you go ahead and answer the question that was put to the panel, Brian?
Okay. Should there be special penalties for hate crimes? Essentially, is what we're asking, right?
Yep.
So
here you go, Amanda. It's not working. Sorry. She said, "Beer me." I tried, really.
As long as there is methodology to figure out motive, we have crimes that we punish people for motivation for all the time. I mean, I don't know why hate crime should be any different. There's different degrees of murder based on motive. I mean, the difference between what is first-degree murder and second-degree murder is motivation and intent based. So intention is something we already are looking for in our legal system when we're trying a case. So why should this situation be any different?
Marty?
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I think if your motivation is hate fueled, like if you're gonna beat up on somebody simply because they're gay, I think that should get back. Mommy's busy. I think that should carry a little extra weight. My dog was trying to. I think that should carry a little extra weight than if you just beat somebody up, just because they looked at you funny. I think if you're gonna beat up on somebody, because they're black, because they're Puerto Rican, because they're trans or whatever, I think that should carry a little bit more weight because you targeted this person for this specific reason. So I think no, sorry, I think
that's what Brainbug was saying though.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. I kind of agree. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're kind of. It seemed like maybe the panel split on this, and which was kind of the point of me trying to do this stream. But I'm totally for hate crimes getting more time, getting more punishment. I'm not for death penalty at all. That was another question I'm gonna skip over. We're gonna get back to religion with the next question.
I don't want to do that.
Oh, this next one's
I got out of it for a reason.
This is my favorite question that I get from Christians all the time, and I love this next question. But when it comes to hate crimes, if somebody's going to kill somebody and it's like a crime of passion, an in the moment thing, that's something different than, say, what was done to Matthew Shepard. Matthew Shepard was a young, shy boy, and he was in a bar, and he had two men hit on him. He welcomed those advances. He thought that he was, hooking up with a couple gay dudes, and as soon as they got him in their van, they proceeded to torture that boy, and he was left to die, and he did die. And I think that those crimes deserve extra punishment. In fact, I think they deserve more extra punishment than what they're getting. Punishment should be a deterrent to committing crime. So, like with these aren't crimes of passion; these are crimes of hate, and we should be trying to deter people from acting out on their hatred. So I strongly believe, me and John has had this conversation, and that's what I say. Like, you should be able to have conversations and just disagree and not stop being friends because you disagree about an issue, right?
Sorry. Everyone in the chat's like, I'm stoned. It's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to be stoned anymore.
I know. Like, I turn off my camera because I still don't like doing it on camera for some reason.
These are gummy bears. It's totally innocent, man. Gummy bears.
Yeah, I'm totally a floaty head for a non-weed related thing completely.
We hear that better, man.
All right, so the next question is my favorite question of all time, and Marty, you'll even be able to answer this one.
Wait, what's your favorite breakfast cereal?
Frosties.
Frosted Flakes or
It's probably still Fruity Pebbles.
No, peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Stay away from me, Lucky Charms.
Cardboard. That was awesome.
I love you, Matt.
There's pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. There's just a big giant box of Lucky Charms, and none of you fuckers are allowed it.
I love you, man.
Are magically delicious.
Holy shit, the gummy bears kicked in already, right?
Are you sure you didn't take acid?
I hate acid.
I still get flashbacks every once in a while.
You
I've
hate
never
acid?
had an acid flashback ever.
Except for Psy. This
How
Ken
could
Holbein
someone-
CPA guy's awesome.
How could somebody hate acid?
I had a great time. Both 3 times
No.
I did acid. Great.
Acid, mushrooms, something about those two just make me nauseous constantly, so I can't do them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not for everybody.
I'll smoke my weed, I'll eat my weed, or
Especially
gummy bear
if you-
style. Nom, nom, nom.
It's gonna be for everybody when I put it in all the water supply. Then everybody's gonna be.
I will find out where you live, motherfucker.
John, a nation with guns, and you're going to put acid in the water supply? I
Yeah,
don't think that's a brilliant plan.
So, what is the next question? Your favorite question, there, Doc?
All right, this is my favorite question.
If acid
That
reflux.
I get, that acid reflux. This is my favorite question that I get from Christians, probably on a weekly basis. I get it at least once. If the Christian God, as described in the Bible, were proven to be true beyond any doubt, would you worship it?
No.
No.
Not just no. Not
Wait,
just
wait.
not.
We're
gonna go in order again. So slow your roll, folks.
Well, I need to know something before I can answer. I need to mull this over. Are we talking about the God described in the Bible?
Yes.
Yes, the God in the Bible.
Okay.
May I
That's
answer?
described in the Bible, and I can tell you right now, it's a real simple answer. Not just no, but fuck no. Okay, I would spit right in that I would spit in that motherfucker's face, because if you anybody, this is my biggest problem with Christians. Okay, is how you can read the Bible and then say that God is the arbiter of morality is beyond me. Okay, because the God of the Bible is misogynistic, hateful, sadistic, murdering, this piece of shit. I mean,
if I can jump in there, John, if I can just jump in there, and I'm going to make a reference back to Richard that I do shows with every Thursday. He reads the Bible, he reads the exact same things that you do, and has a different interpretation. And he agrees with you that the general term of Christians and that idea of God is bad, but his interpretation, reading the exact same thing, is different. It's not a generalized idea, is what I mean.
What?
The whole idea that Christians believe this, that, and the other, and they're evil. They believe this, that's literal.
Well,
I'm not saying all Christians are evil. I'm saying the God of the Bible is evil.
I'm saying,
how can any Christian read that Bible and say that God is a good?
And as this question
the point
applies,
I'm trying to put forward is there is people out there who do read it and have a different interpretation.
Yeah, so
everybody interprets it differently.
Yeah, as this question applies to you, the atheist, to you, Math Pig, as you've read the Bible, how you understand that the God portrayed in that Bible, not how.
That's the point I'm making. To John, to his interpretation, he's evil.
Yeah, Cafe nailed it. Matt Dillahunty's mafia boss style God.
Well, no, but the thing is okay, and I understand. Yeah, it can be interpreted in different ways, and other people don't have my interpretation. But what I am saying is that I don't think those other interpretations are, and this is just my opinion, are valid. Okay, you can't.
Why do you think there's 33,000 different denominations?
Hold on. Okay, how can anybody read a story about a being that drowned the entire planet except for 8 people, and all the innocent children and all the animals, and then think that God is a good and loving God? Okay, I would never worship a being that did shit like that.
Me either.
can I just say that the when you talk about the God of the Bible, you can't even say the God of the Bible because it's, you know,
There's multiple
we all know
versions
it's
of
multiple books, and you can't even say it's the same God described. The narratives borrowed or, you know, created whole cloth that's in that particular book of the Bible may have represented a God completely different from the one that's in the book right next to it and been imported and included in this. It's a compilation of different mythological systems and laws, essentially. Is what
not just a compilation, but borrowed from earlier religious traditions.
From different groups. So this story might describe a God that's angry and vengeful, and the story right after it might be a loving, all light God. Well, it just between the Old Testament and the New Testament, if anything, it's describing a completely different character when it refers to the God.
So,
Correg, hang on, Coreg, take it easy. We know it's just an idea that Dillahunty came up with and we agree with. We know that. It's okay, buddy. Calm down.
Hey, go ahead, Slade.
Yeah, well, what Brian's saying is true, and of course in some of the earlier books of the Bible, the God was just one of many, and not even the greatest.
Yes,
but obviously,
I was raised Jewish, and if you go back to the early Jewish scriptures, way before, actually, they're not even mentioned in the Pentateuch, which is the 5 books in Moses. There's a pantheon of Israelite gods. There's a whole bunch. Yahweh was just one of them. There's another one called El that they were actually more attracted to at the time. That's why you have Daniel or Samuel or Israel. El means of God. So
yeah, I've got I still go to Jewish stuff now. I love chatting with a rabbi friend of mine, and once a kid actually said, something about God being omnipotent, and she said, "Oh, but I don't think He is," and she's right. Like the Christian idea of this, all these omnis, is completely made up. It's not in the Bible, so far as I can tell. Unless you want to stretch Alpha and Omega, that's, the God of the Bible is not an omniscient being, and he's obviously a bit of an asshole, but he's very human. And he's part of a family of gods, and I wouldn't worship him, and regardless of which book it's from. As soon as I found out all this stuff, the thing is, there's so much evidence for the origins of the Bible and everything, and it's like, before you know about all this, and when you're in the middle of Christianity and you're hearing the interpretations and being told by authorities that that this God's loving and all this crap, it's so different to the reality of it. But no, I definitely wouldn't worship it, and that would be funny if like the earlier versions of it were true, and there was a whole lot of gods.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say, "Yep, I wouldn't be an atheist anymore, but I wouldn't worship him." So, Grant,
you believe it whether you wanted to or not, but
because if it was proven. So, Granny, if the God portrayed in the Bible was proven to absolutely exist, would you worship that God?
Sorry, real quick, I have to. Sorry to interrupt. I do have to head out.
Thanks for coming, Ethan.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sushi.
Yeah,
you want to answer the question real quick?
Ethan, did your parents get home or?
Oh, good burn.
Ethan, you want to answer a question real quick before you go?
Sure. I would definitely not worship him. I would think he is I'm going to choose my words carefully here, not a good representation of what I would consider a moral person, and I would rally against him in every way possible. And
you're going to end up in hell with Satan.
That's okay with me. I was on the Daily Apologist, and we were talking about heaven and hell, and I was like, Dean, I find it odd that you could go to heaven knowing even one single person is being tortured for an eternity. Like, I can't do that. If one of my family members is going to go to hell and I'm going to be in heaven, I can't do that. That's a terrible decision. I'll go to hell with them.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a really good point.
Very valid point. You ask a mother what she would do if her son was sent to hell.
Right.
You going to be happy in hell? Well. And then there's some Christians that say, well, God will erase your memory of having the son. Well, fuck, who wants that?
Right.
Yeah. That's worse.
Remember those people?
So, all right. Well, everyone, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Nakasuchi, John Peterson, Slade,
Stay awesome, Ethan.
Neil 604, Matt Pig, Marty, and Brain Bug. Nice to finally meet you. And then Godless Granny. I'm putting together a Second Amendment roundtable, so I'm going to be reaching out to you.
Oh yeah, thank you for coming, Ethan.
All right, thanks everyone.
Yeah, I have advice as well. Being over here in GMT is getting quite late, so Nakasuchi.
All right, well, then you
go to bed.
You go ahead, Matt Pig, and you give your answer to this question before you leave. Then.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
If the God of the Bible was proven to be a gun manufacturer, would you?
I wanted to say
what was his worldview?
John, you're coming forth with is if the God of the Bible was true, would we worship him? Right? Yeah. Everybody on this panel right now has read more of the Bible than a Christian. If you ask, no, you know that, but it's serious. Looking at the point where we have to take into consideration, as I said to Nakasuchi earlier when he was in my stream, the point that he makes out is people say the Bible is true because they've been taught 10 sermons out of 65 books. When you put the rest of it towards them and say, well, if you're going to take this literal, you have to take the rest of it literal.
Well, you know what, Matt?
The fact that you're saying it means that I'm taking into consideration slavery is okay, LGBTQ is bad and all the rest of it. But there is Christians out there that believe in the Bible that don't agree with that.
I took out all the bad stuff of the Bible, and this is all that was left. See, so.
No, but by saying to a room full of atheists, by asking them, do you believe that if the God of the Bible was true, would you worship him? Every single person in this room is going to the extreme. Every single person in this room is saying that person agrees with slavery. That person agrees with, against LGBTQ. But there is Christians out there that don't agree with that, and I just want to make them.
Of course.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely going to be a part of my answer. That's definitely going to be a part of my answer.
I mean, I understand that part of what you're saying, Matt Pig. That I mean, every person in I only come in contact with atheists online. Every person in the real world that I know and love, my family members and friends, they're all Christian believers, and they don't think a lot of this extreme stuff, like they're not totally against gay people, and they don't, all the other, junk that's in there. But the question is if the God of the Bible was proven to be true.
Well, but that's what the point I'm making is you're asking if the God of the Bible and the interpretation of everyone in this room is different than if you asked for toxic Spartan theology or Richard or praise. Their interpretation of the person of the Bible, they would say, yes, I will agree with that and I will worship it because of their difference. I'm just pointing out you're asking a room of atheists.
I mean, not person, would you worship it?
Yeah, I understand. But the thing is, if you take the Bible as a whole and the things that God purportedly did in that Bible,
100% agree with you.
I understand that you're saying that not everybody believes that stuff. But what it is though is it's in the Bible, So that.
Oh, I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm not going to stand here and defend Christianity.
Yeah, no. But so where are we at? Okay, we jumped around there. Okay, we were going.
I think Matt Pig's about to go to bed, so I want to say goodbye, Matt Pig. Thanks for coming on, and we got to do some more streams. I had fun on yours earlier.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, we're hoping to do that quite regularly on Thursday now. And
he doesn't ask me anymore.
I gotta tell you what, though, Matt Pig streams. He's got the coolest fucking setup, man. I love that thing he does with his head there. It's like
this is free. We'll check that. I think will this work?
He used to do a potato, so.
Oh, well, we can totally change to the potato. Oh, you love this one, Neil. This one's for all the Americans right there. Where is it? There
I'm
you
not
go.
American. There you go.
I'm a Trump potato.
Trump potato.
That's fucking
I'm a
awesome.
Trump
Dude.
potato. Yeah. Cool. We should go with that one. You can tell everyone you're a Pleiadian. Oh, there's that. That's perfect.
Right.
I don't know how to do none of these fun things.
I will see you all later, and we'll talk to you all later.
Oh, no, I'm just
Thank you very much
Yeah,
for being on earlier. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Matt Pig.
All right. See you,
See you,
Matt
brother.
Pig.
Bye,
All right, so Neil. I already know your answer.
Yeah, I've been sort of plugging along with everybody here. So, yeah, no, if the God of the Bible was real, I would not only not worship it, I would do everything I could to usurp it and get it the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And then Mindy.
Yes, sir. If God was real, would I worship it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've been asked this question so many times. If someone proved that without a shadow of a doubt he was real, I would believe. Yes. Would I worship? No. And if it's the particular God of the Christian Bible, I would rather go to hell, because honestly, if this all-knowing, all-loving God is willing to judge me and punish me based on whether or not I believed in him rather than the kind of person I was while I was alive, then he's not something that's worth worshiping.
Exactly. So. Infinite punishment for finite crime. Not only that, there's all the scientists will be in hell, and they can build air conditioning, so we'd be fine.
That's good.
Hey,
that's a good point.
Mom Atheist says she's going too because Math Pig left. So
of course she's got to
go
do some sexy talk with her.
Mama's recovering. She can't talk too much as it is.
Yeah, when Knock was going to invite her to this, and then Math Pig had said, well, she's still recovering from that procedure. So so Mindy went, and then Neil has been talking the whole time, so we already know what he thinks. And so, Granny, if the God of the Bible was proven to be real, would you worship that God?
No, I wouldn't. But I also want to point out I'm in a kind of a unique position here because I'm the oldest person on the panel. But
no,
I'm
you're not.
How old are you?
57.
I'm 59. I'm the oldest person on the panel.
All right.
I feel
anyway,
young.
But I'm the youngest atheist. I've actually been an atheist for less than a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I was Christian for 42 years.
Wow.
And so
I knew this.
Yeah. And so I do understand where the Christians are coming from, because Math Pig is wrong. Not all of us never read our Bible, because I read the Bible cover to cover 5 times as a Christian, in addition to studying various passages for Bible studies that I would teach. But we just did a lot of mental gymnastics to try to make God good. And anytime we had a passage where God was an absolute dick, the answer was, well, this is just beyond our comprehension. We just don't understand it. And one day we will meet God, and when we do, he will explain it all to us, and then it will all make perfect sense. And we just accepted that on faith. So I do understand how they can do it, even, accepting all of the Bible, but knowing what I know now, no, there is no way I would ever worship God again. I agree with Mindy that, if someone proved to me that absolutely he existed, I would believe him, but I wouldn't worship him.
Well, the God of the Bible, as described at least in the Christian Bible, cannot exist. The laws of physics don't permit it.
Yeah. And I agree. That's very interesting, Granny. I did not know that you were
I know I look a lot younger than that I was new.
Well, I didn't know you were that old too, but yeah, that's why I said you're not the oldest one on the panel.
That old? Why would you say it like that?
It's okay. I've mentioned that
I mean,
before.
to me, that's a compliment. I didn't know you were that old because she doesn't look anything that like near that old. I mean, how was that bad?
Blessed with youthful looks.
I mean, I'll tell you what, getting old beats the fucking alternative. I can tell you that.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It was a real issue when I was in my 20s, though, trying to convince people I was an adult.
Yeah, I had the same problem.
I'm in my
baby
40s.
face
I'm
thing
still
going
trying to convince people I'm an adult.
So Marty,
I know.
Yeah, you already believe in certain gods, but if the God of the Bible was proven to exist, would you worship that God? I mean, and you can answer that question unless you weren't done excoriating me.
No, I wouldn't worship or I mean, if there was signs, unmistakable the fact that like creation, so like, oh well, there's creation. That's the sign. No, it's not. If there were like signs that God existed, of course I would believe because I wouldn't. I don't go, okay, I believe there's worship and give my life to, and no. I actually got into Facebook X amount of years ago with a friend of mine from like junior high, and he posted something to the effect of, if God asked you to do something, sacrifice one of your children, what would you say? And I was like, I'd tell God to go take a fucking hike. Are you kidding me? Like that's an automatic no. You would say, he's like, well, if heaven is real and hell is real, I go, then I take the hit and go to hell instead of killing my kid. That's the correct answer. That shouldn't even be a thought. First of all, what kind of a living God would even ask you to sacrifice your kid as a test to prove that you worship him and that you're faithful to him? You can't just take your word for it. What kind of fragile ego does this guy have that you have to, will prove to you're faithful to him until you child? That's not. I was like, no. If it's between killing my child and him sending me to hell in the spot, I'll go to hell because that's what you do, and that's not worth. That's not God worth worshiping. So
so is Yahweh in your pantheon of gods?
No.
No. Okay. What is your specific form of polytheism?
The Welsh Celtic. I'm more on the traditional stuff, like rituals and like rituals and the spell work and stuff. But it's worship. I don't know. Worship's not the right word. It's the respect and reverence of the natural world and using the natural world in what I do. So, and I use the Welsh Celtic pantheon. But I also accept evolution, obviously. Like and I don't see.
Damn it! I gotta pee. I'll be back.
Okay. To me, I don't see signs of a Christian God. I just don't. Yeah, no, I wouldn't worship a God like that. No, believe in the existence, sure, because it's a fact that it exists. But worship is, you can believe that something exists and not turn your life over to it.
So if anybody wondered where Neil went, he had to go take a piss.
Little boy.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I like best about Neil. He doesn't give a fuck, man. Like I wish I could smoke weed on camera, but I still got that like latent it's a crime thing.
But here's the thing, Knock. See, because of the fact that you turn the camera off every time you smoke weed,
we know you're smoking weed.
and we know when the camera goes off, you're smoking weed.
Yeah. One time I had to go refill my drink, so.
Brian.
As far as if the God of the Bible was proven to exist, would I worship it? And I struggle with that because I don't think the God of the Bible is coherent. I don't think that it's that, like I was saying, it's multiple narratives strung together with laws and everything else and genealogies, just all stuffed together in a binding and called the Bible. And I don't think it gives you a coherent narrative. I don't think the God character itself is a coherent character. I don't think that it could exist strictly because it contradicts itself in its nature throughout the book.
Sounds like you've been reading John Loftus lately.
So, let me put it to you this way. All right. If the God that drowned the world and the God who said smash the children's heads, dash children's heads against the rocks. If that God was proven to exist, would you worship that God?
I'd kick him in the fucking god nuts.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah. That was like one of them questions where the answer was pretty apparent. All right. So, Knock, did you give your answer for this question like we don't already all know?
Yeah, like we haven't heard him saying it for the past 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to meld Math Pigs and Neil's point together. So, Math Pig was saying, people have lesser versions of a God. And Neil's point was, if the God of the Bible exists, I would defy that Bible. I would do everything in my power to bring that God down out of power, overruling us. And that's what I believe. If the God of the Bible, when I read the Bible, if the God of my understanding were to be proven true, well, like every atheist here will answer, I will believe in that God, but I will not worship. In fact, I will fight against that God. Now, say if a lesser version of that same Yahweh is true, would I worship that God? Probably not. Even if it's Richard Matson's version of Yahweh, I would probably not worship anything. For one, I don't think if you're a bigger being than I am, if you're something more than I am, maybe I should respect you, but I don't think that you would demand worship of me. I don't demand worship from anybody. So I'm not going to worship anything, honestly. Maybe my coffee in the morning. I think that's about the only thing I'm ever going to be worshiping. I mean,
Richard Matson, if you're in the audience,
all hail the beer.
Forgive me, Richard Matson, for saying this. So when you said Richard Matson's version of Yahweh, I forget. Is that Pluto or is it Jupiter?
I think it's a galaxy far away. Honestly. And I'm not playing with it. And as I said it, because early he was on the stream with Matt Peg earlier, there's actually for what Richard says, right? That Yahweh, I'm not sure what he thinks about God, Yahweh, or even if he believes in that. I say he's not really a Christian. He does believe in Jesus, but like he thinks that we came from space. There's actual like scientists that theorize that, right? Like there's actual legitimate reasons to believe that, to where
panspermia. Yeah, it's the whole theory of panspermia.
Hold on. Did you say something about Star Wars earlier?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in Star Wars realms now. So
demonetized.
We're not monetized anyway, so
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one of the coolest scientific words ever, panspermia. And that's not.
Hey, wait, whoa! I haven't been in the kitchen for a while now. Okay.
So yeah,
my first date was to see the original Star Wars on the big screen.
Me too. Well, no, first movie it wasn't a date.
My first movie, I believe, was Return of the Jedi in the theaters. The first time going to the theaters was Return of the Jedi. But just to finish my point, Richard Matson's God, I would believe in it. I wouldn't worship.
Why does he get his own God? No,
yeah.
Why does he get his own?
Because it's a different version. I call it Yahweh 3.0. But I wouldn't try to stand against it either, because it would be something that I would find morally acceptable, or an explanation that I find more acceptable than I find the bullshit I get from Christians. But yeah, so I think that can end the questions for the night, and we can maybe just, if you guys have anything about anything that's went on tonight.
I have one question I want to put to the panel. One last question.
Well, let Neil say what he was going to say.
Before we go to the next question, I got to address this one. Cafe, my good friend Cafe in the chat here said directed panspermia. So I kind of responded, does that mean you've got good aim? Or you can aim?
Yeah, I mean, is that
sorry.
So no, since Neil brought it up, the last question I'll put to the panel is Star Wars or Star Trek? Well, I say
any sci-fi.
Both, but mostly.
Why limit yourself? You want to limit yourself? That's fine.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying which one's better. I say Star Trek.
I don't have a better for either. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. I love Babylon 5. I love Lex. I love.
That's fine.
I'm gonna say Star Wars is way better than Star Trek.
Yeah,
I agree.
How about you?
And I'm leaving.
Slade. What do you say to that, Slade? Star Wars or Star Trek or both?
Firefly.
I'll probably have to go with like Firefly too, but probably Star Trek is it was the one I grew up with most.
Me too.
So it's more idyllic and but less realistic in some ways as well, though. So I guess that's why it's been made into a religion by many people.
Jedi.
Yeah.
I want to be a Jedi. I like them both, man.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, Wars. Definitely Wars.
Star Wars? Okay.
Yeah, I never really got into Trek. I tried to. I enjoyed some of the Next Generation, but I was never like a diehard fan and had to see every episode. Whereas Star Wars, I love Star Wars. I watched them over and over, and I had such a crush on Luke that I can't.
So did my sister.
I can't say that it wasn't Star Wars.
Well, I mean, and the thing is too is I don't know if anybody did this, but I remember back when I was
junk shop.
You'd get that tube from the Christmas wrapping paper and.
Oh yeah, so you're like.
Oh yeah. I had to see lightsabers.
Fluorescent bulb, which was really bad because you don't want to smash it.
Anything that length was a lightsaber. Anything.
Oh hell yeah!
So the tube.
So Granny, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Definitely StarArs. As you saw, my avatar is Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to figure that out.
Star Wars was my first date, so that's a lot of nostalgia there.
Oh, really?
Wow. That's impressive.
So what do you say?
You just went up a whole nother level,
Marty. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars all the way. I dig some Trek. I really liked the new Picard season. It was amazing. I really liked DS9. And I really liked Enterprise. The one with Captain Archer. Enterprise, that was what it's called, right? I really like that one. Anything else, I kind of like. Star Trek is a little too long for me. If that makes any sense. Star Wars stuff is happening. Stuff's happening. I have ADHD. I need some shit happening. Some lightsaber fights, some fucking dog fights in space. Yeah. Show me some shit.
And you look like Leah, Marty.
Thank you. I Star Wars all the way. I dig a little bit of Trek, but mostly Star Wars. Actually, Neil, this is what I emailed you about. I have my channel, my nerdy debate channel, and I emailed you to see if I can get you on as either a debater or a moderator or both. But I have to get maybe your.
You sure you want me debating?
I'll have to get your correct email in a minute. But.
They're fun debates, Neil. It's like
I'll get you. I'll come on, yeah, for sure. But
I was going to debate.
Come on, mine.
I was going to debate Skylar on who was the best captain, Picard or Kirk. We're still going to have that debate. We just got to reschedule.
Oh, he hasn't done that yet.
I am a Kirk
Not
guy.
even a fucking
Brian.
contest.
Kirk was Pimp Daddy, yo.
Let's see Picard take on a Gorn, motherfuckers.
So Brian, Star Trek or Star Wars?
I grew up with Star Wars, so it's got to be Star Wars for me. I didn't get into Star Trek at all until I got a little bit older and started watching the older ones when they were on like syndication late at night. And
that's what I used to watch.
There's still generations of Star Trek that I haven't seen. I don't know if you all have all seen all of them, but I haven't consumed all that Star Trek has to offer yet. But for Star Wars, yeah.
Cafe made a great point. If you go by the,
I don't believe that for a minute.
What the Star Wars thing that he mentioned there? It's true.
No, the Cafe made a good point.
No, this is legit. You're familiar with Michio Kaku and the whole idea of Type 2, Type 1, Type 3 civilizations.
Cafe's been
Like Type 3 civilizations seem to be more of what are in Star Wars, whereas in Star Trek, you have more Type 2 civilizations with hints of Type 3 when you look at things like the Dyson Sphere and stuff like that. But that's a good point, Cafe, because, I would say Star Wars is definitely full of way more Type 3 civilizations than 2.
And if you actually look at that, no, he's spot on, because the Type 3 civilization is when you're traversing the entire galaxy. You're harnessing the elements of the entire universe, or the galaxy, your particular galaxy, because I don't think a species will ever go from one galaxy to the next. And that's why in Star Wars, I did some research on it, and it would take like 10 million years to get from one. With our current tech, or with even more sophisticated technology, 10 million years.
Okay, look, dude, you know the whole thing about. Let me see if I can show you. Right, the wormhole scenario, right?
Oh yeah,
Instead of going all this distance, you just go like this.
Well, and if that ever happens, that would be awesome. But based on the schematics of now. I did some videos on this. Kathy is extremely right. Type 3 is when you're harnessing the entire galaxy that you're within. Type 2 is more your solar system, and Type 1 is where we're pretty much
the
just
Earth.
entering into Type 1 now. Yeah.
I say we're close to getting into Type 2 fairly soon.
Yeah, I think Type 1 is when you're really harnessing all of your world's energy, and we're definitely pretty much doing that at this point.
We're almost out of it, so we got to start moving around. So that's why, right?
Yeah,
no doubt.
We could change the types of energy in this planet that we use. We're not using the right ones. Problem.
That's
right.
Soon, sweetie. My daughter's like, "When are you gonna be off?"
She's gonna start kicking your ass, bud.
You would wanted to, when I interrupted you there, Knock, you were trying to say something to do to close it out. And we've been on 2 hours now. And then, did we want to see if there was any questions from the audience? Or
I actually, sorry to interrupt, I do have to head out because I agreed to do the Friday night 6-pack with Pastor and Drew in the morning.
I'll be there with you in the morning.
Yeah, so I have to get up, and I also have
I'll be at work,
so I got to go to bed.
I'm gonna laugh at you guys.
No, I was gonna do an audience part, but I think it's been 2 hours, and it's been a good discussion. I want to thank John, because John is better at moderating than me. If John wouldn't have been here, this probably would have gotten out of control. So, thank you, John.
All right.
Hey, John's loud. He's like, "Hey, you!" Hey,
John's gonna get your attention.
And somebody had said at one point that I've got the dad voice.
Yeah,
you do. You definitely do.
You have like that Perry Mason voice. I think that detective voice, especially with the hat you got it going on.
Yeah, I gotta have the old dad hat on. I like that. So, all right. Let's chill, Mindy. Before you depart, is there anything else you want people to know about you? I mean, do you have a YouTube channel or anything like that?
I do have a YouTube channel. It's called The Sassy Heathen. So if you want to see me there, I make videos about once a week, and then I have Twitter as well, which is Heathen Sassy.
And we will put everybody's information in the video description.
Everybody already is. I will add Marty and Brian to the description.
That's awesome.
But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate joining.
It was nice to meet you in person. And I can tell you right now, within the next few minutes when we get done here, you got another sub on YouTube.
Oh, thank you so much.
Matt,
I look forward to joining you sometime soon.
Mindy, I thought I was already subbed to you.
What was that?
I thought I was already subbed to you.
Well, you're not? Oh, I had no idea.
I am now.
Awesome. Thank you.
But DM me, Twitter.
Yeah, we already have a date set up.
Oh, yeah, we do. Fuck,
you got to stop taking so many gummies.
Look,
right?
If you want
or take more.
If you want to get Neil, if you want to ever get Neil to come somewhere, what you do is you hang a 6-pack of beer from a tree branch.
All right, everybody.
Wrap
Thank
it in
you so much
fake.
for having me, but I'm gonna head out. Have a good day.
All right,
thank you so much for coming.
Bye.
I'll see you next month.
How about you, Slade? What do you want to let folks know about you?
Well, I'm just starting out at all this, so I don't really have any contact yet. I'm going to be setting up a whole separate. I'll let you guys know when this happens. YouTube thing. I'm going to do education for kids, and I've decided that possibly the first one I do will be on race, because you got all your problems there in America. And I recently saw this debate about is evolution racist. It had
Good to have one more. Sorry.
It was just so ridiculous, and so I'm going to do a thing explaining physical differences for kids and how they evolve and stuff. And at-home experiments and all that sort of thing. So as soon as I get that set up, I'll let you know. At the moment, I'm just building sets and things.
All right.
Yeah.
And real quick before we move on to the next person, I want to say hello to Junk Shop Library in the house. I don't know if you just got here or I just didn't notice you earlier, but how you doing, bud? And Marty, tell us all about you. I know you've got a new channel you're going to be premiering here very soon.
Yeah, the channel exists. I just don't have anything on it yet. It's called Nerd Wars. I'll give the link tonight. I don't know if he still has it up, but I'll give it to him and he can put it on here. It's going to be a formal debate channel of the nerdy stuff, the important stuff, like who's the better Captain Kirk or Picard, Order Alliance, Marvel versus DC versus Marvel, stuff like that. The first episode was supposed to be Skylar versus Knock, Skylar Fiction versus Knock, but Skylar Fiction has some family stuff and I haven't heard from him in a minute, so I don't know if we're still waiting on Skylar Fiction or if somebody else wants to take up the Picard mantle and go up against Knock, but we can set that up. But yeah, finally got my channel up.
Awesome.
Let me cut in real quick. I'm interested, Matt Powell. When is your next movie going to be out?
My pal's in the house.
And were you able to actually get any atheists this time? That's the question. Don't let me interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I mean, no, but that was a cool thing to interrupt. And the thing is doesn't something have to be valid first before it needs to be debunked? I'm just asking.
I think that's a good point, John. You have to make valid points in order to be debunked. Yeah.
The argument has to at least be valid. I mean, we're not even talking about if it's sound or not, but if any of your arguments were even valid, Matt, then maybe we can.
It's not about his argument, it's about editing yours.
Hey, Matt, I've left numerous comments on your on videos on your page with my email to sit down and talk about being LGBT, being that I'm bisexual, and you've never answered me. So if you want to sit down and have a conversation with an actual person who's part of that community about about actually being bisexual or LGBT instead of maybe the stupid bigoted crap that you have in your head, hit Knock up and Knock can set that up.
Yeah, she's been wanting that a while. And last word on that, and we'll move on. Don't worry, I will be reviewing your stupid movie because I find them funny. So yeah, don't worry. But you should be looking for my response to you asking me to apologize to MMA Jenkins. So funny. It's so funny. But yeah, we can continue now.
Wait. Yeah. Does Matt mean Daniel Dennett, not Daniel Bennett?
I don't know. I don't know who either.
Sure.
I don't know who Bennett is. Daniel Dennett, the one of the Four Horsemen, for crying out loud.
Yeah. That now that you said Four Horsemen, it clicks. So maybe that is what you mean, Matt. Manuel Dennett or Daniel.
If he interviewed
Daniel Dennett,
the Four Horsemen, you can be assured that he will edit and cut and paste that video to make him have
it's going to be so bad.
Right. Yeah.
that's what people do, man.
Matt never saw a quote that he couldn't mine to make it sound like something else. And so where were we? Marty went, and I don't know. Did we talk to Granny yet?
Not yet.
Okay, Granny. Wait a minute. I jumped over Neil. Neil, tell us all about.
Oh no. Granny can go first. I'm good.
All right. Go ahead, Granny.
Okay, I have a channel. It's Godless Granny. I've had it for about 6 months now, and it's been growing slowly but steadily. I will be putting out a new video tomorrow, which I will premiere. Normally, I do premiere a new video every Friday. This one is not quite finished yet. I've only done the rough edit. I've got to do the final edit and upload it. So I'm not sure exactly what time the premiere is going to be, because sometimes this one's a long one. And the last time I uploaded a long one, it took me 8 hours to upload it.
Knock has been running into that too. It's taken a long time to upload shit.
Yeah, so it may actually end up being Saturday morning before I can premiere it, depending on how long it takes me to upload that one. And then I also do a live stream every Tuesday at 7:30 Central Time, and the topic varies from week to week.
Well, and just like I told Minnie, here in a few minutes, you will have another sub. And just to make room in my sub list, I'm going to unsubscribe from Neil so that I can sub.
Totally worth it.
Hey, Brian, tell us about you. Anything you want folks to know?
My channel is Brainbug, and talk about bugs there. Talk about spiders, all kinds of little videos to enjoy. And I interview some cool people. I got an interview with Cybugs coming up. We're trying to work out a date, but she's pretty awesome and way better looking than me. But and then I did have some stuff planned with Mama Atheist with Amanda, but she had her medical stuff come up, so that's got pushed back into August, which is fine. I just hope she's healing. Just watch this, Amanda. Hope you're doing all right tonight. And in August, I'm gonna be on Navardia, so that'll be fun.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, just hearing you talk about your channel there now. Some of your tweets I've read in the past are making sense to me now, because I wasn't sure about
puzzle pieces falling in.
Right? Yeah, like he actually is a bug guy. Okay.
Yeah. Check. He's got great tarantula videos.
Well, right. Well, I've read some of his tweets and thought to myself, yeah, there's some cryptology here that I'm not getting, But no, he was literally actually talking about bugs. And of course, I'm John Peterson, and right here on this channel on Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, I host, along with Faye the Most Gracious, Faye Rahman, the Apostate Alliance. And this Sunday at 11 a.m., and we had a little technical difficulty last week.
Kitty! Oh, sorry.
We're still trying to hook up with Haas, former Muslim, and do that interview, and then we'll put it up as a video. But this Sunday, we're going to be joined by Oz from the Atheist Roundtable. I know a few people here know who he is. And that'll be at 11 a.m. And then sometime here real soon, probably next week, we'll have another edition of John Learns New Stuff. We used to call it not John Learns New Shit. And I thought I'd go with the
I still call it John Learns New Shit. Still call it John Learns New Shit.
And then
that's great, man.
Thank you everybody for being here. And then I want to
just knock. Yeah, I think we ended up skipping over Neil.
Yeah, you told me
happens all the time.
Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
I'm just the guy. I'm just I do deconversion stories and stuff, and as you can tell, the gummy bears have finally kicked in.
Yeah,
they seem to be. I've been doing some research, and the combination of blueberry and peach seems to affect me faster than the lime and lemon combination. Just a little heads up there. Could be different for you because we all have different brain chemistry, so you never know. But anywho, I do deconversion stories. I'm on a bit of a hiatus now. You see, I was really smart this year and planned my holidays opposite of my time off of YouTube. I should have combined the two somehow, but I'm dumb and didn't do that. So I was at my dad's place for a couple of weeks, still doing my show, and he was pissed off. He's like, "Well, when are you going to come over?" I'm like, "Dad, it's 2 hours. Chill. Like, fuck, relax." Right? But he was like, actually, I noticed him walking around in the background sometimes. I think he wanted to listen in because he doesn't know technology well, so couldn't figure out how to actually watch it on YouTube while it was happening. So. But it was a lot of fun. He was awesome, and he eventually.
Those gummies make you talk with your hands more.
Oh no, dude! I talk with my hands all the time. I was raised as a Jew, kind of almost like being Italian, kind of. And basically, there's a joke. You're walking down the street in Jerusalem in Israel, and you see a little old man carrying bags of groceries with him. You say, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the old city?" He'll say, "He'll hand you the bags," and then when he hands you the bags, you go, "No," because they talk with their hands too, right? So never mind.
I talk with my hands too. It's just something I do. I can't help it.
So look,
I know, right?
You tell a joke, so I'm ready to end. But this is my favorite joke ever, and it's was something they did. I was at my union's Christmas party, and the union rep got up and told this joke. So there's this new guy starts working at the office, and they're all standing around a water cooler and getting to know the new guy. And one of the fellows says, "Hey, Mac, we go golfing every weekend. You a golfer?" And Mac says, "Yeah, I golf some." And I said, "Well, you know what? We're going out Saturday morning. Would you care to join us?" And Mac says, "Sure, why not? What time?" And the guy says, "Well, we tee off at 8 o'clock. Don't be late. The course starter is a real ball buster. You know, we'll lose our spot if you're late." Max says, "Look, I can golf, but I have to be honest. I may be 5 or 10 minutes late." And they say, "Well, all right, you know, yeah, give it a shot, but you might not get to go out if you're late." Saturday shows up. Max shows up right on time, right at 8 o'clock. He's got a set of right-handed golf clubs with him. He tees off right-handed. He shoots the course 1 over par. They're back at the 19th hole afterwards having drinks. And they're like, "Mac, holy shit, you're like, you know, you're out of our league. You're a great golfer. Like, you know what? We're going to do a round again tomorrow. Can you play again tomorrow?" Max says, "Yep." He says, "What time?" Guy says, "We're going to go at 8 o'clock again. And again, don't be late. The starter's a real ball buster." Max says, "Look, I'll be here tomorrow, but I got to be honest, I might be 5 or 10 minutes late." Next day shows up, Max right on time. This time he's got a set of left-handed clubs with him. Tees off left-handed, shoots the course 5 under par. The rest of the guys are beside themselves. You know, they go back to buying them drinks. They're like, "Holy shit, dude, like, you should be a pro. Like, you're way out of our league. Like, holy shit." You know, and one guy says, "Hey, Mac, let me ask you something. So you're ambidextrous. How do you decide which clubs you're going to bring with you, you know, on any given day when you golf?" Max says, "I got this little system." He says, "I wake up." He says, "I roll over and I look at the wife. If she's laying on her left side, I golf left-handed that day. If I look over at the wife and she's laying on her right side, I golf right-handed." Guy says, "Well, what do you do if you wake up and look over and she's laying on her back?" He says, "Then I'm 5 or 10 minutes late."
Oh, John. Oh, that was yeah. I was going to try to make some drum sounds, and I just don't have it in me. So
wait. I've got you covered.
Yeah, Neil's got it.
Hang on here. Wait, no, that's not it. Anyway.
I as well sending me a link. It's too late for links. Whoever's sending me a link.
Sending you a link for what? To go to another stream?
No. So, there it is. That's what we needed. No, Will Kincaid sent me a link. Smokey Saint, Fart in the Wind. It's a video, I guess. So yeah, we'll check that out. I want to thank
when a joke doesn't go over.
I'm gonna hopefully have some sound effects. I really want to put together a Matt Powell soundboard. I'm gonna try to spend some time on that. It's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be hilarious.
Dude, I know you got to do the Matt Powell one, and this is something new. But you
just came in and comment bombed.
You gotta do a freaking Smokey Saint soundboard.
Oh, I mean,
some of the shit he says and that laugh of his. I mean, just.
Oh yeah. He's gonna have to be a part of it now. But I do want to thank everybody for coming. This was a fun conversation. I'm gonna try to do this atheist thing once a month at least, and I'm gonna definitely be doing bigger rooms. This was a nice test run. I think that, John was able to keep it under control. We'll see how it is if it's just me and 9 other people. But hopefully hopefully the old school conversations will be coming back, and we'll have some more open rooms, and people can just come in and we can converse pretty much about whatever anybody wants to converse about. And may the dumpster fires ensue if they must, but hopefully we'll have some civil conversations as well. Tomorrow I will be on this Friday Night Six Pack on Atheist Pastors channel in the morning, 7:30 Eastern U.S. time. So, check us out there if you're up, and be the conversation. I'm not going to run the Patreon screen. I don't have it. I got to redo it. So, be the conversation. Thanks for being here. Have a good night.